Hey y'all, this is Bad Means about Omari back at you with another video. Alright, so I wanted to make a video comparing Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku to GT Super Saiyan 4 Goku and which form is actually better. Granted, they're both Super Saiyan 4. Now, this is completely opinion based, but I'm going to be looking at some strong facts to compare the two and which ones were either pulled off, which one was either pulled off better or looks better, and which one is better ability wise. So first I want to get on how it was achieved. So we all saw Neva do something to Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then he had the ability to go Super Saiyan 4. It wasn't really explained how he did it, and it really honestly still was not explained what Neva did. People weren't sure if it was magic or whether he gave him the ability, just straight up gave him the ability to do it. But on the last episode, we were able to find out that Goku had the ability to do it through training, and never unlocked that potential in Goku to do it. Goku had the ability to do it. He had the strength to do it through training, and never just, gave him that push to do it. We all know Namekians have the ability to unlock potential like Guru did to Gohan and Krillin on Namek. So it's safe to assume that that's what Neva did to Goku. It's a good idea. I mean, it's not the worst, but we have to remember that Daima was a limited series and they had to, make the pacing at a certain level. So yeah, it felt like it was kind of pulled out of nowhere and it was kind of rushed almost for him to get the form, but it wasn't the worst, and it worked out, I think. We also see that he doesn't need a tail to achieve the form, and he could do it at will. So yeah, like I said, it's not as deeply rooted as GT Goku's is, but it works for what Daima was. Then we have Super Saiyan 4 GT. Now, linking the Golden Uzaru to Super Saiyan 4 was such a good idea. Making the way to achieve Super Saiyan 4, you have to go through the pathway of the Golden Uzaru. You have to control that power to achieve Super Saiyan 4. That was such a good idea. It makes it so much more meaningful than any other Super Saiyan form. I mean, it just the idea behind it was so well thought out than it was in Daima. So, it was just, it makes it more than just a Super Saiyan form. It's just so much more. It really brings out the potential of a Saiyan. And I'm just going to have to give this round to Super Saiyan 4 GT. It takes the round. I mean, it's just so much more thought went into it. While Daima's was good, but it felt rushed. Like, not too much thought went into it. It was just like, let's just give the fans Super Saiyan 4. And this is really the way we can do it. So I think that this was better. And, needing the tail to get the form, because that's where the Saiyan's true potential is. That was also a great idea. I would say the only real weird part is how they got his tail out. Pulling it out with the big clamps, because the training that Goku was going through was taking too long. But that's just typical Dragon Ball comedy, to be honest. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was marching around Gohan for some hours to unlock his potential. So, it's just part of the charm of Dragon Ball, which I don't really have an issue with. But some people do have an issue with it, calling it a literal ass pull. But, the fact that he needed his tail to achieve the form, I think it just puts it above what Daima did. Next up is abilities. Now, this one isn't exactly fair because, like I said, Daima was pretty limited. So we really didn't get to see the abilities of their version of Super Saiyan 4 Goku, because we just couldn't really get deep into it. We didn't really have the time. But we do see that he is physically pounding stuff. He can whoop some ass, and he has his Kamehamehas and We know he definitely gets stronger, but that's really all we can say. We haven't really seen anything specific from this Super Saiyan 4 because, like I said, they were so limited on time. So this isn't exactly a fair matchup, but it's a matchup that has to be mentioned when you're comparing the two. But like I said, we definitely know he gets stronger, and we know his defense is up there. He can take some hits, but that's all we can really say about him. Then we have Super Saiyan 4 GT. Like I said, this isn't even a fair comparison. I mean, from being able to not be harmed by the same key attack twice, to displaying an awesome level of key control, being able to absorb attacks that are overwhelming for him and make it his own power, which means he can replenish it to make it his own power. The ability to absorb ki in his base form to bring Super Saiyan 4 to another level, making Super Saiyan 4 GT a limit breaker form, being able to tank lightning casually, even though it burns hotter than the sun, his awesome sense. I mean, it's like I said, it's not fair. I can go on and on about Super Saiyan 4's feats, but you know, like I said, they had more time to really give him these feats, unlike Daima. Unless they eventually go further with Daima Super Saiyan 4 and we can see more of it, it's very obvious that Super Saiyan 4 GT takes this round as well. And last but not least, the designs. Now, Daima's design is basically Super Saiyan 4 Goku recolored. We first see him in the kid form and then adult form. Personally, I like the form, but there's a few changes that they did that I'm not really a fan of. I mean, technically it's a recolored Super Saiyan 4, but they gave him bigger hands, which I understand the idea behind giving him bigger hands. I just don't really like it as much. You know, they wanted to give him more of that gorilla feel, so they made his hands bigger, his hands and his wrists bigger, and his forearms, to show that he has some serious physical power in those hands. Like, you see those, you know he's about to knock somebody off his block. So I understand why they did it. I'm just not really a big fan of his wrist being that big. And the hair, the fur doesn't go all the way to his wrist in Daima, which is, I'm not too much of a fan of that either. I think it's much better when the hair goes up to the forearm and a little bit onto the hands. So I'm not really a big fan of that. His color, now I'm okay with the color of the fur on his body. That I'm okay with. I like that color because it reminds me of Super Saiyan God color, which I actually am a fan of. But I don't like that his hair on his head is the same exact color. Like, I just don't like that. I think his hair should have been different. Had they have kept his hair black, I think it would have looked so much better because it kind of, you know, it doesn't blend in as much with his fur. So I don't like that they changed the color of his hair and made it the same exact color as the fur. I mean, even his eyes are the same exact color. Like, come on. I mean, there has to be some other kind of color tone in there. It's just all the same color. And it kind of cheapens the form. It doesn't make the form look as special when everything is the same exact color. I mean, even with Super Saiyan, the eyes are green and the hair is yellow. You know, they could have gave it another color that complements the red, that tint of red. I'm not really sure what it is with this new generation of Dragon Ball and bright colors everywhere, but I guess that's just the way that they go. Then we have GT Goku. Straight off the bat, I love the tone of red that they use for his fur. It really signifies power. And the fact that they kept his hair black shows that it's more of a controlled form and it goes very well with his form, with his fur, with the color of his fur. I think the black hair signifies how natural the form is, and it just looks so much better. I mean, the way the black hair touches the fur, and then you have the red outline going around his eyes, and the gold in his pupils. I mean, it's just an all around better design form. Like I said, they're both pretty much the same design wise, but when it comes to the colors and certain things like the fur going all the way to his wrists, it's just better on GT Goku. Granted, both of them are designed by Nakatsuru. I don't know how much input Toriyama probably had behind it, which I don't imagine is really much, but Nakatsuru did both of them, so he did what he did, I guess, to differentiate the two. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to say GT's Super Saiyan 4 design is way better than what we got in Daima. It's just way better. The golden eyes right there, I mean, they just really set it off. And it just makes it more of a callback to Sun Wukong, which is what inspired Dragon Ball in the first place. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Super Saiyan 4 Goku. He just looks like royalty in this form in GT. For GT, it's like a royal Saiyan almost. And yeah, I'm just gonna have to give it to him. So Super Saiyan 4 GT wins all 3 rounds. Like I said, I like the Daima version, but GT's it's just better. And that's not crapping on Daima, but yeah, it's just better in all categories. So let me know what y'all think about that in the comment section, which form you like the best, and I'll see you on the next video. All right.